Well, it's not looking good for Bren Esports, unfortunately, losing out on Have to start this third series of the day. Guys, needed to win. This is what we spoke about in the pre-show, and Viminal, they were unable to do that.
Yeah, we talked about this, that Haven is probably their best map, and we were really expecting this. If it were to go to a 2-1, then this would probably be Bren's map. Now, I really do hope that my prediction 2-1 in favor of Boom is incorrect. As I mentioned earlier, I do have a soft spot for Bren Esports, but they made a change. They made a change that had raised quite a few questions above my head. You were thinking the same thing, kind of stifling, I think, Borkum's potential.
Yeah, I think Borkum on the
Phoenix was to go to a 2-1, then this would probably be Bren's map. Now, I really do hope that my prediction 2-1 in favor of is incorrect. As I mentioned earlier, I do have a soft spot for Bren Esports, but
I don't think he won a duel.
They made a change. They made a change that had raised quite a few questions above my head.
But I think on the defensive side, the cracks just really started to show. And after the A executes were done, which most of the Bren did, on their attacking side, from the defensive side,
kind of stifling,
there
I
were
think,
so many holes
potential.
that were not plugged up by the defensive.
To go to a 2-1.
Obviously, that we've spoken about Haven being
my prediction 2-1 in favor.
They haven't won it though. What do they now need to do, Tim, to really turn this series around, or is there just no hope?
I don't think he won a duel.
I do believe we say that Haven is ready, but that doesn't mean to say they can't play the other maps well as well. So, it can still go either way. They still have a chance in this, but perhaps it's time for Borkum to stay away from that Sentinel role. I mean, Dispenser used to be on that Sentinel. Dispenser is still being team MVP for them. Team MVP for them. Dispenser. No matter what agent you put him on, he's going to put on a show. But it's really enabling each of your teammates to play and shine at their best here.
Yeah, I agree. Dispenser is always going to be good, like on whatever role you put him on. But the thing is, see, Dubstep, I think he needed a little bit more support in that role. He wasn't really able to get those op shots off. Dubstep just wasn't playing like Dubstep. He wasn't being as dominant as he normally was. And Borkum was as well a little bit underwhelming. I just think at the end of the day, having Borkum on Phoenix unlocked so much potential for this squad that was really missed in that first game of the day.
A lot of even stats there across the board. Let's go and check out the second map in this series, and it is going to be Ascent. It's not Haven. It's not a safe haven for Bren. This is the map that was selected by Boom Esports.
I wouldn't be surprised if Boom Esports would feel, just as comfortable here compared to the first map, as this is their map pick. But then again, Bren Esports, they also had good performances here in Ascent, as with pretty much any other team out there. No one's particularly bad at this map, as Dax and I were talking about earlier. But Bren Esports, I'm hoping to see Dispenser back on that Sentinel role. And also, I did notice earlier during the first game, they weren't really relying on their set plays as much as they did before. They were kind of kicking it back, trying to read their opponent. Well, it did work well during the first half. Sometimes I think changes are not necessarily the best thing to do. Sometimes you don't fix what's broke. What's not broken.
I think if there's any silver lining to this dark cloud that Bren is under right now, it's that Bren always starts slow. In best of 3 series, Bren usually takes the loss in the first one and then comes back later on. So Bren is one of those teams that is a slow starter. I think it's a very common trend in the Philippines. I can't, for the love of God, tell you why, but that's just how it is. They start slow, they start winning in the second round and third round. In the Masters, they might not be able to pull that off, but maybe on Ascent, it might still be.
And it might not help that, of course, they don't have Haven as a safe pick later on in this series. It's done, it's dusted, they've lost it. They have to move on to Ascent, though, as are we going to do so now, throwing it back over to our casters to see whether or not Bren can dig themselves out of a hole.
hole looking pretty deep, but then again, if you're going to be flying up to the heavens into Ascent, it might be time to get out of the ground and look to get that win up in the clouds instead. So Dax and Nazar, we are going to be back for the action here for game number 2, and things are looking pretty dire for homeboys there at Bren Esports, but Boom in the meantime really showing how impressive they can be. A very consistent effort in figuring out the Bren conundrum. They found ways to just pick apart the opposition. They found ways to really squeeze the most value out of their movement and also watch out for the flanks. So gotta ask you, Astray, what can Bren do right now in a map that they've been pretty hit or miss on as we get into Ascent?
It seems like Bren going into this game brings out the strategies and the picks that they don't usually normally use as well on, you know, our local tournaments, which could be nice because it doesn't get scouted out by the international teams. But what that also means is, are they really comfortable with the mix that they put themselves in?